They didn't come in fire or fury. No streaks across the sky. No booming voices or earth-shaking landings. They came in silence, as if the universe had held its breath and exhaled them gently into the world. The first ship was discovered floating off the coast of Antarctica, a sphere the size of a cathedral, hovering motionless just above the sea. No heat signature, no propulsion, just a perfect obsidian orb reflecting nothing, darker than night. Within 48 hours, 9 more appeared, one on each continent, always near major population centers, but never directly in them. They didn't land. They didn't move. They didn't respond. For 6 days, humanity stared, prodded, screamed, and prayed. Military aircraft circled, drones scanned, satellites focused their eyes, but the spheres gave nothing away. Then on the 7th day, they opened. Not dramatically, no loud hissing or shifting plates, but seamlessly, as if space had simply rearranged itself to reveal a doorway. And from each, something stepped out. No two beings were the same. One appeared as a figure of liquid silver, shifting with every glance. Another resembled a six-winged insect draped in violet light. One was nothing more than a field of vibrating energy, and another looked hauntingly human, save for the absence of eyes. They walked, or floated, or drifted into public view and stood still. In New York, the being stood in Central Park and waited. In Tokyo, one perched atop the sky tree and observed the crowds below. In Nairobi, the being melded into the skyline like a mirage. They didn't speak for 3 days. On the 4th, they spoke at once. Every screen, every speaker, every phone and satellite channeled a single voice. Not loud, not aggressive, but clear, as if it had always been part of the background hum of Earth itself. We are the assembly. We come not to conquer, but to choose. Panic swept across the world. Choose what? Choose who? Governments scrambled for communication, for strategy, for control. But there was no dialogue, no way to engage. The beings stood still, silent again, observing. For 7 more days, they watched. They watched as nations postured, alliances frayed, and chaos erupted in the absence of understanding. Protests turned into riots. Religious leaders declared the end times. Conspiracy theorists shouted over each other. Scientists begged for calm, for logic. Then the assembly moved. They walked toward individuals, not leaders or influencers, but ordinary people. A baker in Istanbul, a retired nurse in Toronto, a street artist in Sao Paulo. One by one, they approached and touched these individuals on the forehead. Each time, the person collapsed. Not dead, but changed. When they awoke, they spoke in voices not their own. We are the witness, they said. We carry the record. And from each mouth came stories, not of Earth, but of other worlds, of civilizations long gone, of empires that rose and fell before humanity discovered fire. Through the witness, the assembly revealed that they were not gods or invaders, but curators of potential. They traveled the galaxy not to impose, but to find species on the cusp of ascension or annihilation. Humanity, they declared, stood precisely on that edge. The planet had 30 days. 30 days to prove it could evolve beyond self-destruction. 30 days to show it could think as one. The countdown began. At first, disbelief dominated. Humanity had never united in 30 centuries, let alone 30 days. But something about the clarity, the finality of it broke through the noise. Across the globe, ceasefires were called. Religious leaders embraced one another on live broadcasts. Rival tech giants open-sourced their innovations overnight. For the first time in history, humanity wasn't competing, it was collaborating. Cities turned off their lights at night to reduce emissions. Refugees were welcomed instead of turned away. AI systems once designed for profit were repurposed for global logistics, healthcare, and climate stabilization. And the assembly watched. Their forms began to shift, subtly but visibly, becoming more human. Not in mimicry, but in resonance, as if they were tuning themselves to the frequency of Earth's spirit. But not all agreed with this new unity. In the shadows, others plotted. A secret coalition of military leaders, fearing deception, launched a covert strike. 10 hypersonic missiles, each tipped with an experimental EMP warhead, were fired at the spheres. All 10 were intercepted, not by force, but by reality itself. The sky rippled, and the missiles vanished midair, disassembled at the molecular level and reformed into harmless clouds of inert gas. The assembly did not retaliate. Instead, they spoke again. Your fear is valid. Your violence is understood. But we do not test your strength. We test your wisdom. The failed strike only reinforced global commitment. Billions participated in what came to be known as the Merge, a collective effort to upload, share, and connect every human experience into a unified data lattice. Powered by quantum processors and stabilized by the calm presence of the witness, the Merge created a digital consciousness, not an AI, but a living archive of all thought, pain, joy, and memory. On the 29th day, the assembly entered the Merge. They walked through the digital halls of human thought, watched replays of history through human eyes, listened to every song, cried with every death, and laughed with every triumph. When they emerged, their forms shimmered with color. Not one color, all colors, like they had absorbed the essence of humanity itself. On the 30th day, the world held its breath. The assembly gathered in a single location, the Sahara, where their ships hovered like silent monoliths. A crowd gathered from every corner of the world, not politicians or elites, but representatives chosen at random by the Merge. A child from Mumbai, a farmer from Kenya, a coder from Norway. Before them, the assembly spoke their final words. You have chosen yourselves. You're not perfect, but you are aware. And that is the seed of all evolution. One by one, the spheres lifted into the sky, becoming points of light that stretched into infinity. The witness fell silent, their purpose fulfilled. The Merge remained, humming softly beneath the surface of the world, a quiet reminder of what had been and what could be. But as the world celebrated, something unexpected happened. In a forgotten valley in the Andes, an 11th sphere emerged. It had not been there before. No one had seen it arrive. It was smaller, darker, colder, and from it, a single being stepped forth, unlike the others. It was broken, scarred, trembling. It did not speak. It collapsed at the foot of an old shepherd's hut, and when the man approached, the being whispered just one word, help. The world, still healing, still learning, turned its eyes to this new mystery. Scientists and diplomats gathered. The Merge recorded. And somewhere far beyond the stars, the assembly watched, not in judgment, but in hope. For the test had not truly ended. It had only just begun. And humanity, for the first time in its long, violent history, stepped forward not with weapons, but with open hands.